Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 160 of the Hoots podcast, brought to you by On It and Omaha Steaks. No, I'm kidding. Welcome to the show.
I was like, what just happened?
Don't worry, man. If you listen to a regular show, there'll be a new ad coming for you every 5 to 10 minutes. So be on the lookout. By the way, when did podcasting turn into radio? Like
The popularity. I think this has been going on. That in a way, I'll admit, Josh, in a way, as much as I love the Omaha Steaks jokes because they're funny, it really isn't any different than it was like 3 years ago. We just weren't noticing it, you know. Now we noticed it because of these podcasts. This particular podcast became so popular. I think. Not ours, obviously. I'm talking about John Moxley and Chris Jericho, and Wade, and I think on Wade Keller's too. But yeah, I think they've always been like that. We just haven't noticed it. Maybe it wasn't as bad, but it's just like I don't know. I mean, in NFL games, they're doing picture-in-picture for commercials now. They do it on SmackDown. They do, it's just keeping up with everyone else, which it does suck for us as listeners, but as an audience, but. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny that everyone kind of jumped on it now, though, because I've always thought it was funny.
You want bad and cringe-worthy ad audio? Listen to Disco Inferno promoting Blue Chew. Blue Chew is a good product. I'm not telling anybody to not partake in that product, but having to hear Disco Inferno talk about Blue Chew or some of these older wrestlers, I'm like, come on, man. No.
Right?
Delete.
Yeah, exactly.
Delete. Enough of the ads, though. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Joshie. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Hoots Podcast. Also, follow me at Josh Lopez Music. I'm doing a lot of different guitar covers every Mondays, Tuesdays, and Saturdays. 3 days a week, I pick out like 15 different songs to learn throughout the day. It can be from any genre. And I'm always open to suggestions. And I think I'm almost done over 100 songs on the page already. So go check it out. I got a couple cool likes from different popular artists. I think one of the members of Black Eyed Peas liked one of the songs I did from them. That was pretty cool. So go check out Josh Lopez Music if you want to see me pluck the guitar strings.
I so much wanted to be the dude that nobody knows his name. Like, I can't think of his name. But I know what he looks like. You know what I mean? He always looks like the dude you have to fight before you get to the final boss in any video game. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I just can't think of his name. Mm-hmm. And neither can any of you.
The voice you hear right there is the Clown Prince, Adam Daley. What's going on, my man?
Josh, what is going on? I actually have a couple interesting topics that I want to bring up today. And I guess at the end of the show, when we bring in, wrestling from the eyes of a 9-year-old, my daughter actually has a list of subjects she wants to talk about this week. So I guess there's that. She came prepared this week. But yeah, I guess here we are. Did not watch the Jetta show. Dark Phoenix. For those who saw it will understand this. For those who didn't, but these aren't any spoilers. I liked it, but I understand why people didn't.
Yeah, I've seen this been getting some bad reviews recently.
Yeah, like I thought it was cool, but they took some liberties with some things.
It's been a pretty interesting month. It's going by really fast too. I can't believe we're in the middle of June. It's freaking insane.
Real nuts. Yeah, and it's over the weekend. Got to go to Pittsburgh Pride. So I think that's what everyone's seen a picture of, hopefully. Out there, but one awesome thing about Pittsburgh Pride, and I'm sure this is any Pride, but I love being able to see somebody with an Undisputed Era shirt on and just scream out Adam Cole and then have them finish baby, from totally across the street. You see somebody with like the Balor Club shirt on with the rainbow flag, with the Pride flag, two sweet demonstrators, and everybody kind of just. That's when you always see even the wrestling fan base really kind of come together and. It is fun when we all have a good time together instead of go at each other's throats, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I'm not good with graphic design, by the way, and I've been trying to see if I could get like a Pride logo over our logo for our podcast. Been trying to work on that for the last couple of days. Anybody that's good with graphic design, please help me out. I like the worst at it. It was the one thing in broadcasting school I couldn't do. is graphic design and video editing. So anybody can help me out, please help me out on that end. But also coming up this weekend is Father's Day. Also, my dad's turning 45 on Saturday, which is pretty cool.
That's crazy when you put things into perspective.
Yeah, I got young parents. My dad's turning 45, man. It's crazy. So it's a nice little double dip for him. Good chill with him this weekend. Actually at his house right now, actually. So yeah, I'm excited for the weekend. Father's Day, you're a great father, obviously a good brother.
Thank you. Thank you. We do the best we can.
We get a taste of it every week when we have AJ on the show, and everybody that's celebrating Father's Day, make sure to make it a good one. And it should be a good weekend. It's been a good month so far. Maybe some people are still acting like the world's coming to them when it comes to the main WWE shows, but whatever. Welcome to the day of a life of a wrestling fan in 2019. Right. There's something down to bring something up. Today, we are going to get into some stuff going on as far as the Stomping Grounds pay-per-view is concerned. I want to hit on what happened at the New Japan Dominion show over this past weekend. Also, I got a little something for Adam that we're going to get sports-wise at the beginning of the show, and also for a good brother.
I already know. I'm hoping, but I already know. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But really quick, before we get to that quick business stuff, please leave us a 4 or 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Please subscribe to the channel to get all our previous editions of the Hoots podcast. Sporadically, I've been uploading old interviews I did on my old Pro Wrestling Experience show. I uploaded one over the weekend with Magnus, or you could call him Nick Aldis, the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion right now. I did that interview about 3.5 years ago, so you can listen to that. And I have a bunch that I have saved. I need to pull up my black and red USB drive to see what else I still have in that. But if I can find some more old interviews that I did, I'll put it on the feed. Also, like I said, leave us a 4 or 5-star rating, or leave us a review. Let us know what you think about the Hoots podcast, whether it's on Apple Podcasts or on social media. We want to take your feedback in the show, anything we could do to help expand the reach of the show. Your feedback is very important, and we've been getting a lot of good feedback recently. So thank you for everybody who takes 5, 10, even 3 minutes out of your time to listen to us act like a bunch of buffoons on here. Here's for the support.
Here's what I love about like when we do the plugs at the beginning, and this is any podcast, not just obviously not just you doing this. It's I have to do it with other podcasts that I'm on, and anybody that has a podcast, leave a 4 or 5. It's like leave a 4 or 5-star review, all this kind of stuff. It's like, come on, man, I got these cheeseburgers, man. Like, it's all we're like, come on, I got cheeseburgers for days.
I forgot the line Terry Crews had from in the Longest Yard. He had the cheeseburgers too. You remember the one, the Adam Statler?
When he was Cheeseburger Eddie.
Yeah, Cheeseburger Eddie. Yeah. Oh, man. I know the reference you're making is Don't Be a Menace.
Yes.
Oh, man. Good movie. I watched it the other day at the shop.
Fantastic movie. I've seen it way too many times.
Do we have a problem here?
So, fun story. I think this would have been my junior year of high school. Me and was it our senior year? Maybe I can't remember. I feel like it was definitely our junior year. Basically the starters on the baseball team and some other bench players or whatever on the varsity baseball team. We'd always go into school late on Tuesdays. We'd go get breakfast, go watch Don't Be a Menace, then go into school. I have no idea why. I have no idea how the school never caught on, or if they even gave a shit. I don't think they cared as long as we were winning baseball games. But yeah, so. Much has changed since 1998.
Right.
Or 97. That would have been 1997. God, man.
Anyways, on a sports related tip, let's talk about the Oakland Raiders being on Hard Knocks this year on HBO. That's
Heard
right.
The rumor.
everybody wants the drama. Everyone wants the Chuck. They want Chucky. They want Antonio Brown. They want Richie Incognito. They want Vontez Perfect. And all the casting characters for the 2019-2020 Oakland Raiders.
As well they should.
For me, I think this is awesome, not from the drama factor, but this is the Raiders' last season in Oakland. And I think it's good for that particular fan base, the Raider Nation, to see what's going on behind the scenes, if they have any new updates as far as the stadium in Vegas and this and that. It's not always just football. There's a lot of behind the scenes aspects when it comes to Hard Knocks. I don't watch it every year, even though I am a big football junkie. I don't get to watch every Hard Knocks season on HBO. But I'm interested in this one. It should be pretty good.
Yeah, you know what? I've never watched it. I never, I usually keep football until football season, and I know it's always football season, but American football season, because we do have an international audience here. But I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty cool having a Raiders featured on there. It's same reasons why you said, but and let's face it, you said they want Antonio Brown, they want this. No, they want one of the greatest and most recognizable brands in the history of sport. Period. And you can hate, but you cannot lie that the Raiders shield is one of the most recognizable logos in all of sport, any sport worldwide. You cannot argue that point. Whether you love them, hate them, whatever, just, it's something you have to accept. So I don't think this is something Al Davis would have probably done. Actually, maybe. I don't know. I don't think Al would have wanted too many cameras around, but at the same time, with Al, it's one of those scenarios where we were bad for a really long time. So yeah, maybe let's try new things. Maybe some added cameras will be nice, and it'll get these boys fired up a little bit.
You think there's too much emphasis for the media about the particular guys that have had off the field issues, or as far as about what's going on with the Raiders right now, you think there's too much attention on like Richie Incognito or Vontez Perfect? Because I know there was a little distraction last season when it came to Martavis Bryant. Is he back on the team now too, or no?
All right, I'm gonna answer each question. I didn't even know we had Richie Incognito. I didn't know that. I don't know anything that's going on behind the scenes right now. It seems like AB's just, I guess, being Antonio Brown, right? I don't know. I don't really follow a lot of players' Instagrams and stuff like that. I'm only on Instagram, so I see what the Raiders put out, and it's not like they're going to put out any drama, So I hate to sound like real dumb and ignorant on the topic, but it's another one of the things I stay out of, man. It's June. It's June 13th. I'm not ready to dive headfirst into the NFL. I need an off season. I need a breather, and I don't need more football. I just need my Raiders from August on. There we go.
I'll tell you this though, as a football junkie, I love pick'em leagues or confidence leagues when you put numbers against the team you think will win or whatever. That's one of my favorite parts of it. I know everybody loves betting and fantasy football stuff, and fantasy football is fun, but I don't know, it's kind of cool just to see if you could predict the actual games, because still NFL. And sometimes you may think it's predictable because the Patriots are in the playoffs every single year, but there's also the element of football that anything could happen at the same time. So I love confidence leagues in football.
No, yeah, and again, it's for everybody that likes every Raider hater. Remember, it's almost like you don't have anybody that's indifferent with the Oakland Raiders, right? You either love them or hate them. It's that simple.
Yeah,
that tells you something, right? There's a lot of teams that if they're there, and oh well, you know what I mean? So having a team like that on Hard Knocks is going to really bring people in, from an audience standpoint, just because if you love the Oakland Raiders, if for whatever reason, nostalgia, current fan, whatever, you're going to tune in. And then if you hate them, you want to tune in because you want to see the circus that is the Oakland Raiders, right? Look at how crazy this franchise can be and how lampoony it can be. So it's a win ratings wise. And I hate to say this, that we've went from the intimidating villains to kind of like the class clowns, but I feel like the villains are coming back here.
Let's give a shout out to another member of the Raider Nation and a good brother to this show, Alex Rodriguez. Make sure to follow him on Twitter. I forget his Twitter handle, but that guy is hilarious, man.
Yes.
That guy is pretty good, man. Shout out to the good brother, Alex Rodriguez. Also, something like Raider related. I just love how John Gruden just easily gets like annoyed with reporters asking convoluted questions when it comes to the football team. I don't know what it is about today's like sports reporters where they need to make like a, I don't know, some type of investigative list of questions of what's going on with the team. Like, can you just say what the issue is and just be upfront with it instead of just talking in circles about what you want to ask these coaches or players?
Yeah. Well, it's
like you wouldn't have these athletes or coaches be uptight with some of these reporters if they wouldn't be talking in 15 different circles to get to their question.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's what people want, though. You know, they want the long, drawn-out setup, whether we realize it or not. Listen, all the world is becoming more and more a stage every single day. Always has been,
Yep.
But more and more so as the days go by. It's, you know, we're seeing it play out in everything. So the NFL would be no different.
Yeah, all world's a stage, man. Media, relationships, all of the above, man.
Life is a work, brother.
Yes, it is. All right, let's get into a little bit of wrestling. I didn't have anything particular when it came to AEW that I wanted to talk about. I know today they announced that Moxley is fighting Kenny Omega here in Chicago for All Out, which is cool. Tickets for that pay-per-view are coming out tomorrow at 12 Eastern time, which makes it 11 here in the Midwest for those in the city who want to get tickets to the show. But you already got two big matches for that show: Hangman Page and Jericho for the AEW title, and Moxley and Omega. Besides that, I really didn't have much to talk about because there really wasn't much to talk about. I didn't see anything Twitter-wise where people were making an uproar about AEW or something like that. I didn't see anything like that. You want to talk about?
Yeah, I do, because sometimes it's little details, to me at least, that matter. Okay. And this is one where if you watch Being the Elite this week, and because they know that marks are marks or fans are fans, or when you're creating a scene creatively, sometimes, you know, the little details are what matter. Every segment that Hangman was in when he was calling somebody, there was a different Chris Jericho match on in the background. He was basically like he's studying Chris Jericho film, you know, for the upcoming match. But the one that I absolutely appreciated was there's a scene where he's watching a Kurt Hennig versus Chris Jericho match, and for me, it doesn't. You know, we always talk about our Mount Rushmores and stuff like that. So, thank you, Hangman Page, for getting that one in there. I have no idea how greatly appreciated that was. But you know what? I don't know, man. It's I like what they're doing with with Jericho pulling out a Fighter Fest or whatever, you know, and Fozzy doing the same thing, you know, what the whole gimmick behind that. I think they're doing because they do have some unique events coming up and not, you know, straight pay-per-views, I guess is the best way of saying that. Cause I don't even really know what like Fighter Fest is. And like, even what, I don't know, you know, like All Out, obviously we know what All Out is, but these little mini events in between, I don't know what to call them. I guess I don't know. Are they pay-per-views? Are they not? Are they? I don't know. But I still think they're doing a good job keeping up. I know I wouldn't have gotten that big of a kick out of Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. I don't know if it would work in WWE, and it did work on Being the Elite this week, in my opinion. Like the little comedy segment they did. Now, is that a fault of either company or a benefit? I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not taking sides in that one. We'll get into a discussion later on though, but I will admit I am more invested right now in AEW's men's division than WWE's men's division, and it's not the investment, and we'll talk about that later on because I have a statement that I want to say, and then I want you to spin off it. So we'll get to that later on.
Yeah. The only clip I saw from on Twitter wise they put on as far as AEW is concerned is like they had this little phone conversation with Hangman Page and Nick Jackson, and they're having like connection issues because they're trying to figure out like Page's opponent for Fyter Fest.
Yeah.
It was one guy and then another guy. No, not Jimmy Havoc. No. And then it ended up being a four-way. It's Hangman Page, MJF, Jimmy Havoc, and somebody else. I'm gonna get crucified for this, but hey, as much wrestling I watch throughout the week, even I forget some stuff that's going on. Anyways, there's this big four-way match that's going down in Fyter Fest at this amphitheater that's outside the Jaguars Stadium. So that's their next big show on June 29th, which is the end of the month, which is pretty cool. We'll see what else is going on AEW wise. I'll say this though, as I watch other promotions and I watch other different brands and stuff, I really don't have a preference in or I don't have a stylistic like loss for one men's division opposed to another company's division. I get my need from men's wrestling from all different companies. Same thing for the women too. I just cater to what I like and what gets me it's into the shows. If there's something or a feud that I don't care about, I don't give it that energy.
Right.
I don't talk about it. It doesn't. I don't. If it's not grabbing me, why should I need to talk about it? Why I need it to grab me? They're not doing their job then. You know.
Correct.
So I don't need to broadcast that, I guess. I think there's a little thing about broadcasting and podcasting today where everybody feels like you need to broadcast everything that's in your head wrestling wise. I don't think that's good. I don't think it's good. I think silence at times and, you know, not paying attention to stuff that bothers you is more paramount because you need to find ways to enjoy the shows at the end of the day. Whether people like the women's stuff in AEW more than WWE or vice versa, I really don't care. But I just want to watch these shows for what it is. Let's talk about New Japan really quick. Chris Jericho got the main event the show with Okada. Very good match. Jericho got his makeup now. I can't even recognize him now. He's going so emo and ravenish with his Painmaker gimmick and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even see it anymore. Mm-hmm. He had good stuff with Okada. The match, Okada won the match via roll up. Okada didn't even hit his finisher on Jericho. So they may have a chance to have another match down the road. Also, Jericho got to a brawl with Tanahashi, so that could be another match down the road. So always cool thing with Jericho when he does these New Japan shows is not just one feud and out. He always finds himself getting in position to have more feuds when he does return for New Japan, which I think is cool.
Yeah, no, I like that. However they're working this out, AEW and AEW talent can work with New Japan and can still work to, you know, these other shows and stuff like that. I think that's important. I don't know how much of a relationship they're going to keep tying in because in a way you don't want New Japan starting to think they're like, and again, this is regional because so I'm thinking North American market, you know, obviously this is probably helping New Japan more than anything because it's going to put more eyes on them. Right.
Right.
So I don't think it hurts them with their domestic market. I wouldn't say because they want to see a John Moxley. Right. So, you know, that is sometimes one concern. But I mean, there's only real benefits of it, I think, in my mind.
A couple other things that stood out to me from the pay-per-view Dominion that happened this past Sunday. Make sure to check out Will Ospreay against Dragon Lee for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Will Ospreay won the Best of the Super Juniors tournament, hence why he got the title shot this past Sunday. Their match went almost 25 minutes. It was insane. As opposed to the recklessness that was going on in the Ibushi and Naito match. Ospreay and Lee, I thought other sequences fit with the styles they were wrestling with each other, and I thought it was an awesome match. It was really, really cool. I don't know how somebody tries to do like a running Frankensteiner off the apron, and Ospreay is still able to land on his feet. This dude is one of the best athletes in the entire business right now. The guy amazes me every time I watch one of his matches. He always comes up with a new way to show off his athleticism. The guy's awesome. But also on the show, Ishii became the never openweight champion. That was a cool match. And then what else? Naito defeated Ibushi for the IWGP title. So I want to talk about this because this is going to lead into some of my thoughts that went down on Super ShowDown. So Naito decided that he wanted to do a snap German suplex on a ring apron. Only problem is Ibushi cranked his neck this way before bumping off the apron. And it was one of the nastiest spots I've seen in a while. The visual's still out there if you want to see it for yourself, but
no, thank you.
Yeah.
I already shit my pants once this month.
Yeah. So this could lead to this.
Anybody to watch Grandma's Boy before?
This could lead to a bigger picture conversation because a lot of people were reacting to what went down with Undertaker and Goldberg and this and that.
Yeah, what had happened? What happened was I didn't see. I seen it. I seen all the backlash, but what had happened?
Well, let's start with the positive because that's the vibe I rock with. I think Undertaker had one of his coolest entrances that he's done. If there's one thing from Super ShowDown to watch, please go check out that entrance. It was freaking sick. But the first couple of minutes of Goldberg and Undertaker was fine. They were going through their spots. It was kind of similar to the one Goldberg had with Brock Lesnar in Survivor Series, where Goldberg started off with his 2 spears, and then Taker did a couple of his moves. It started getting a little clunky when Goldberg was trying to do some like rolling knee bar, something like that. That didn't go well. And then Goldberg hit a 3rd spear. So here's the real issue. Goldberg, being Goldberg, as Matt Riddle would say, decided to bang his head on his locker before doing his entrance. He had a cut above his forehead, Adam. Like, he was already started bleeding before the match started. So
sounds about right.
Yeah. Goldberg tried to do a 3rd spear. Taker sends Goldberg to the ring post. Instead of hitting your shoulder, Goldberg hits and goes head first into the ring post. Concussion City, USA. The guy has lost all of his wind. It's like 101 degrees out there in Jeddah.
Ooh, cool. Like, so you're saying it was cool, huh?
Oh god, yeah.
Comfortable.
Yeah, it'd be like 75 degrees here, right?
Oh god, man, that's crazy. Crazy about that.
So Goldberg hits the ring post, bleeding. Yeah, he's got the crimson mass, as JR would say. Goldberg tries to go for a jackhammer. Instead of doing the transition to the power slam, which what it is, Goldberg ended up just doing a brain buster and dropped Undertaker on his head. So we got the spot when Naito and Ibushi were Ibushi's head nearly came off the freaking ring apron, and Goldberg dropping Undertaker at the age of 52 on his head. So, you know how I talked about, selective bitching. I mentioned that before. Okay, I'm with you guys. There's no reason why I would want to see Undertaker and Goldberg tarnish their legacies and yada yada to keep doing this if stuff like that's going to happen. And I understand Goldberg's never been the greatest wrestler and yada yada yada, but I'm not going to come on here and tell you what was wrong with the match or this and that. It's not for me to say. I'm not a wrestler. These guys want to do it. They make the decisions that they want to, whether we agree with it or not. I thought Undertaker was going to be done a couple years ago at WrestleMania 33. It didn't happen. He's still wrestling. It's not my place to say where these guys should stop wrestling or not. I know as a fan, I don't want to see Undertaker be trashed and just talked down to or whatever. There was one spot where Goldberg was trying to reverse the tombstone, and Undertaker fell on the canvas. And they're all both sucking wind and this and that. And the match went about 8 minutes, something like that. And before the mistakes were going on or whatever, there was some good stuff that they were doing for the beginning part of that match. And it's just, I always hated when like a couple accidents here and there happen and it's all shit going forward. And then you see the look Undertaker gives after the match is over. He beat Goldberg with a choke slam. I don't know why Goldberg decided he wanted to bang his head on the door before making his entrance. That probably wasn't a wise decision, but but still, like, okay, you're gonna rip Goldberg and Undertaker for their age and doing those type of spots in that match, but you're not gonna say anything about Ibushi and Naito nearly trying to break each other's necks just to do apron spots in Japan, like.
There's a lot of spots I think that I now that I'm getting older and understand my own physical pain a little bit better and things that I could have done better. And I'm not. Listen, I was never a professional athlete, or listen, I use the term athlete very loosely as it is, but I didn't really take care of my body like I should have. And you start to, you absolutely do. You start to feel at age. The one thing you cannot stop is time. And now on the flip side of it, though, these are world-class athletes. You can't tell them when to walk away. You can't. And on the flip side of it, too, we can't have our cake and eat it, too, when we say for one side of it, well, it's just entertainment. So this is why, this person should go over. And then when you do put two people in that might be past their prime, well, again, then it doesn't become entertainment. It becomes sport. And you want to criticize why it's in there, So that's kind of, I guess, my stance on it, how, people are talking out of both sides of their mouth, but I didn't get to see the match, so I don't want to comment on that. And then it would just make me as big of a hypocrite as everybody else. And I don't want to do that. I really didn't feel that much. Like I said, I liked Goldberg's promo. I thought that last SmackDown was cool. But I wasn't feeling the match. You know what I mean? But again, it wasn't for us though, in a way. There was an audience of one. And I think that was my concern. I wasn't a concern, but obviously that was my concern about an audience of one, but how did that maybe play into this, because how much time did Taker and Goldberg know that they were going to have a match, like if you're working Mania, you probably know at least 6 months ahead of time, even if it's 3 months ahead of time, you know what I mean? You're a part of that Mania program. And I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody by any stretch of the imagination. Again, I didn't see the match. I don't know what happened. I just saw that there was some backlash, but I think that there's a lot that we don't know about that could, that is out of these performers' hands. And, and I'm not going to, it's going to seem like I'm knocking WWE today, guys. And I'm not doing that at all because I'm going to keep praising their women's division as the show goes on. But I think this is something that, whether it needed to happen, not happen, whatever, it's not for any of us to say, Josh, just like we always say, it's not our job to kind of tell that company what to do. I just think that sometimes we have to understand that accidents happen. It is a form of entertainment and a form of sport that, that accidents are going to happen. That comes with it. And I think we had two unfortunate incidents. And Josh, you're right. You can't kind of pick and choose and say one was worse than the other because of age. When I'll admit, and like I started with, there's a lot of spots now that I see in AEW, WWE, New Japan, everywhere, where I think like, damn man, like if they keep doing that in 3 years, they're going to be hurting. And I never thought I'd be that guy to think that, but now I understand why the pile drivers, why they don't do it anymore. Not only the force on the back, the backside and the lower back of the person delivering it, but the possibility of breaking somebody's neck. There's, I understand why certain moves, should be done in limited quantities only, just because of the wear and tear on these men and women's body. So when we do have accidents, though, we can't pile on one and not the other, especially when when they happen in the same weekend. It was just like the blame game, Josh. Like it's always they blame one athlete over the other because it had to have been Seth Rollins was hurting people for a while. Remember? Well, then they tell people they don't go hard enough because then it makes them look like weak talent. So when they go hard and shit, does sometimes go sideways, as it does in any form of combat sport. I don't know, Josh. I think it's just one of those where everyone's going to have an opinion on that, and that's fine. But the only opinions that matter are Bill Goldberg, The Undertaker, and the people that were involved with the match and how they feel coming out of it. Honestly, I mean, and the rest of us, in a way, it's not like there was a story. It's not like it was a big storyline curve on Raw and SmackDown where it started with something and it's going to continue or anything. It was an attraction match. It was a one-off, and we're kind of done with it, right? Yeah. So it's kind of beating a dead horse that's beaten a dead horse. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I guess that's just where I'm at with it. And again, I didn't see the match, so I don't want to speak ignorantly on it either, but I don't think I need to see the match because I'm not a wrestling expert. You know, I'm not, again, in the locker room. I'm not there. So my opinion would mean nothing.
I want to say a couple things because that wasn't the only takeaway from Super Showdown. I didn't feel like it was just a crowd for one person. I thought the fans at the show were into the show and they're reacted to a lot of different parts of the show. There were a couple good matches on the show. I thought the Demon and Andrade Cien Almas match was freaking insane. It was the one Demon match where it wasn't a squash match. The guys got time to do their stuff, and it was cool. The biggest reception out of the entire show was Triple H and Randy Orton, which is pretty cool. And they had their textbook AWA Chinlock City type of match, but it came out pretty good too. So I thought there was some good stuff, and I know I get it was the main event and it's going to overshadow everything, blah, 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 but there was some good stuff on the show besides the 2 or 3 slip-ups in the Undertaker-Goldberg match, but whatever.
Let me ask this question, and I know I should know this, guys, because they showed it on Raw and SmackDown, but again, there's only so much I can remember in a certain week that honestly I can't always go all in with like wrestling all the time anymore. But the gentleman that won the 50-man battle royal, he was Saudi.
Yes,
that's cool. To me, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like that's a nice little moment there. And you're right. I did see, and again, the downside of it on my personal view of the, like, and this is where I'm torn with this event, is because you do see the Saudi crowd and see just how the joyfulness and how happy they are to have something like this over there. You know, is it perfect? No. Does it make the people over there happy? Yeah. You know, I just think that it's personal feelings about it, whatever aside. It's nice to see smiles on people's faces. And for some reason, a dude dressed out in Steeler gear, I didn't like that either. Raider Nation. So anyway, but yeah, I don't know, man. I didn't see any of it. I saw a couple quick little, like, you know how when you first, like, on your phone, guys, if you open up your Chrome browser, it'll like list like articles, you know, and you see just headlines. I think I saw something about the Triple H Orton match kind of getting trashed a little bit, but then I saw it was getting praised too. I don't know. Like, I really don't know. And honestly, man, this is something that I hate to say it, not watching it, knowing that it was kind of just thrown in as I don't want to say as a filler, but again, it was an audience of one kind of, I guess, thing, because I don't feel like I missed that much. You know, I felt like Monday night and Tuesday, I was able to just pick right back up and watching. And it's not like I'm obviously you miss a little bit with the cash in and Brock and all that kind of stuff. Like there was little things that got extended, and I get that. But I think this goes into a point that this is where I want to get your reaction, because I want to see, and it's not that I'm necessarily favoring one over the other or anything over the other, but one thing that I'll admit that I'm a little bit frightened about. Not frightened. And again, here we go. It's here I am, like, over, like, dramatizing things, but something that as a fan I've noticed, you know, I'm still totally like with you know, like into like the women's divisions, like, you know, like figuring, I love their storylines, kind of like where they're going with certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at what they're doing with the men's division, but I'll admit I'm not necessarily, there's not really a storyline that right now that every week I think I can't wait to see what happens next. So apologize for Piper going nuts here, but I actually feel very indifferent towards the men's division. And it's not the performers I feel indifferent towards. That's not what I'm saying at all either. And it's not like, you know, and I started thinking, okay, well, why is that? Is it like too much Shane McMahon maybe, you know? And I don't necessarily know if maybe that's it or that isn't, because, is he doing his job as a great heel right now? Absolutely. But is it, I don't know. It just doesn't, it just feels, I don't know, man. I'll admit I am somewhat indifferent right now, even though I watch every week, and I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm canceling my subscription. I'm not watching. Like, dude, I watch every week. I watch, like, actually, because I've been working while it's been on. I actually watch more now. It's just, but that's also, I think, a problem too, because usually, I kind of like work while I watch, and you kind of do two things at once. You know how it is. And I've noticed I've been, usually there's at least 1 or 2 moments a week where, like, you just put your, I move my laptop aside and you just kind of get sucked in for a moment. Right. And with the exception of a couple segments, like, Bray's Firefly Funhouse every week, listen to the 24/7 title, R-Truth's been doing a hell of a job, like, really keeping that entertaining, and Carmella and everyone, like, everyone this past week, I thought that elevator scene was absolutely fantastic. But when you really, like, get to, like, the cut and dry of it, there's not anything right now where I'm like, oh man, I can't wait till next week to find out what happens with this storyline on the men's side, and it's that I think that's not that it's not, I mean, obviously it's not good. I'm only one fan, so who really gives a shit? But I, in a way, would think they would have came back a little bit stronger, knowing how, whether people want to admit it or not, AEW has actually gained more traction right now. And I'm not just saying them, but there's other people are starting to wise up that there's other pro wrestling out there. And I do think that I would have been so reactionary once that Moxley interview hit. I would have figured out a way to make like that next Raw and SmackDown damn near can't miss, right? And I just don't feel like there's anything right now in the men's division that I've been able to grab onto and be like, okay, I can't wait till next week to see how this, like, continues, And not that I don't watch. Listen, again, I watch every week. It's not like I'm canceling my subscription. Like, guys, I'm not playing, But what I'm saying is, and I'm not saying I don't go through this with other shows too. But I'm in that, I'm kind of in that spot, and I don't know. I'm hoping it's because of the Jeddah show, and like how everything just felt clunky because they had to kind of book for that real quick. Now they're coming back out of it, and but I don't know, Josh. Like, what's your take on that, man?
I don't know. For me, for wrestling wise, I never looked at wrestling as a show that I needed cliffhangers for. Maybe I'm wrong for looking at it that way, but I never looked for it as cliffhangers. I know the show's gonna be on next week. I know they don't have season finale, so I don't. It's a different type of viewing experience from a television point of view, because they got pay-per-views to build towards. Because I don't have an answer or questions of where this is going to happen from one week to another, I could get that in that next week's episode. That's why you have these 4 or 5 week builds to a pay-per-view. And every time I watch the show back, and I'm not watching it live out of lack of interest or blah, 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 blah. I can't watch it live. I'm working. I'm working.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
I'm working at the shop, and I'm sorry. My perspective, and this is just my perspective, is skewed in a lot of ways because I'm watching the show for what it is a day after it's over, pausing it every 5 to 10 minutes or whatever to make sure I got the moves down, and I'm writing this article, and while I'm transcribing the show, I'm coming up with ideas of where this is going and why this happened or that happened, blah, 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 blah. Like, my perspective is different. I don't have that, okay, let me put the show on. I'm going to sit here, grab me. I don't have that viewing experience anymore. I just don't. I haven't had it in a long time, to be honest with you guys. And for me personally, there's one thing I disagree with you earlier, what you were saying. Like, I don't think they needed to respond to the Jon Moxley podcast, nor did they needed to respond to the CM Punk podcast. Because if you're responding to it, you're giving that more power. You're giving it more attention. Why would you need to have your Raw be must see because of a Talk Is Jericho episode? The same amount of people that bitch about Raw and SmackDown do the same thing every single week as much as the people that watch and listen to that Moxley interview. Nothing changed. Nothing changed.
I don't know, man. I actually, for the first time in a long time, here's the difference. When Punk cut his, there wasn't any even real legitimate threats, and that's no disrespect to New Japan Pro, any Ring of Honor or anything like that. But let's just face it, there was no,
I can't constitute AEW as a threat until they do their.
No, I understand that, and it's not a threat; it's an alternative because it's one is a brand, one is an entertainment company, one is a pro wrestling company. They're two totally different things. But I think, and this is where, and what I meant by reactionary, Josh, is I didn't necessarily mean for them to call Moxley out or do anything that way. But what I meant by it was, you would almost felt like the heat was turned up a little bit. Like you could tell guys like the New Day have been trying. You can tell guys like. I don't know what Brock's told or not told to do, or somebody like Miz, or so like you can tell there's people that are but you absolutely when we're starting to see these different I hate that I'm the one saying this, but we've always kept it 100 on here, so I have to I feel like I wouldn't be doing our show justice if I didn't say this. When I'm getting a promo from Chris Jericho in AEW, I'm feeling it. Like I'm feeling every word of it, right? I don't get that every week and it has nothing to do, and it has a lot to do with Chris Jericho, but a lot of times it does. You can tell the different styles. You can tell something organic versus maybe overly scripted. Maybe it is overly scripted a little bit, Josh. Maybe this is something that we do have to kind of start to understand, that even though we are going to watch it, we're not going to change. Like we get that. And this is why we always focus on the positives versus the negatives. But I wanted to bring this up this week because this is the first week it hit me where I was like, wow, I'm actually 100% more in with all, with AEW. And I'm not trying to make it, one compared to the other. And it's certainly not the women's division. Although I do have my gripes about what they're doing with Nikki Cross right now. I don't like that you get all of a sudden you can't have like crazy makeup and like you have to, but that's a whole totally different story. And I like, being able to make up our own jokes about like, kind of what's going on and stuff, but it shouldn't be us making like, hey, look, they're doing Mean Girls. Ha ha ha. Like, I actually, in some case disagree. Like, I don't think that we should be sitting there for an entire show going, okay, entertain me. Because, we're watching their show. We're choosing to watch them. But they still have to give us a reason to. Like when you're writing a comic book, you end an issue with a cliffhanger because you want the reader to want more, right? And even when each character fades out in different issues, it usually leaves them with some sort of a question so that you could think, okay, next issue, is this character going to, is this where Harley turns on Ivy, or Harley messes it up for Ivy, or Harley messes it up for Joker, or whatever, or is it where she finally gets it right, or is it where, you just never know. And I think it's those little tidbits too. That is the art of storytelling. And I think that they're kind of almost just doing weekly skits versus telling a continuous story. And I don't know. It just doesn't feel, now that we've had a little bit, a little sample, and who knows what once AEW's weekly, if they're going to be able to keep up, and that's another thing too. Like I don't want to jump the gun on one over another, but I don't know, Josh. I'll admit, there's something right now that does feel very fresh about letting the athlete and the entertainer kind of do their thing. Versus given, given like, you're starting to see it a little more. You're starting to feel it a little bit more. Hell, even look at Jericho's promos in New Japan, and I know I keep using Jericho as the standard, but he's kind of setting the standard of what can be outside of the WWE bubble. Or what could be inside the WWE bubble if they would just allow some of their talent a little bit of leeway. And even though it's hard with all the corporate sponsors, that's also the give and take of it all. And we have to understand that it's, the buck always stops with Vince and stuff like that. I don't know, man. It hit me this week when I caught myself really cracking up over Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus in a skit that if it was done on Raw, I would have been like, man, what are they doing with this? And it was just me. And I don't, there's something, but maybe it's just because it's a little more ham too. Like, I don't know where I'm at. That's why, but I do know, Josh, the one feeling I have right now about I know that I care too much about the men and women in the WWE locker room and as entertainers, as performers, and respect them and love what they do so much. I hate feeling indifferent about a certain division, but in hindsight, 2018 was dominated by the women because their storylines were the best, and there wasn't going back. I didn't really grab on to too many of the men's storylines or character paths from 2018 over into 2019. So I do think something needs to kind of be addressed and say things need to be done a little different. That's just my opinion, though. That's totally my opinion, like totally 100% my opinion. That I am not, and that's probably why I'm not in a writer's room. I I really don't know shit because I'm not in that locker room, obviously, but just I know, as a viewer who appreciates improv comedy, stand-up comedy, whatever whatever. You can tell when somebody's really feeling it and off the cuff, and how once you catch fire like that, that's when you capture lightning in a bottle versus a script that's given to you and you never really have that opportunity to really kind of capture that lightning. I don't know.
I'm not gonna come on here and say that every Raw or SmackDown gets me on the edge of my seat, but again, like I said earlier, if there's a show that I didn't like or whatever, I'm not gonna talk about it a lot.
Right, exactly.
There's certain weeks where we don't spend 20 minutes on what happens on Raw or SmackDown because either something happened or we didn't get to it at that point. It's just authentic conversation. That's why I don't come on here every single week to break down every segment of the show, because what am I getting out of that? Like, at the end of the day, I mean, people have their own preferences. That's fine. I have stuff that I enjoy that other people don't. Vice versa. That's a part of entertainment. Is there anything grabbing people's attention? I mean, okay, you squeezed in a Saudi Arabia show 2 weeks out of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. We got Stomping Grounds a week from this Sunday, so you got to get through that. And then you got another month before Extreme Rules, and then you got, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks before SummerSlam. So the only thing for me is I don't think there's set paths right now for the WWE title or Universal title, but I don't think that's a bad thing either, because people are always questioning if Brock Lesnar's going to cash in this week or not. So you got this briefcase storyline that's going on with Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins that I think Seth Rollins has done a good job as a champion each week. I think Kofi has been killing it recently. I think that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens being like the guys that are always getting other people's way. I think I everybody knows their love for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Do certain people have clear and direct paths to feuds and angles and blah 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 blah? No, but I don't. Like I was telling you before we came on air today, I don't think we need the answers to everything, and that's what I was trying to say earlier. Like, okay, you don't have something to hook me to next week. Oh, what's going to happen next week? Because this happened on to this show. And okay, here we are the next week, and he still didn't get the answer. That's why you want my feelings on what I gauge on what's important and what's not important. Watch the pay-per-views, because that's where the stories are told. I said this since we started doing shows together. Raw and SmackDowns are telethons. It's all it is. It's plot points here and there, and it's constant promoting for the commentators throughout the show that we got this next show coming up. It's not a television show. It's not. It's not written as a television show. You got a couple exceptions here and there. You got the Firefly Funhouse. It's cool. You got some stuff here and there with Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans. Awesome. But again, and I was saying this too, like, I don't think every show is awesome. I don't think every show is horrible. This is what it is right now. It's June. You got people out doing things. You got people focusing on other stuff right now. I don't think just because Jon Moxley exposed the behind the scenes creative process means that they need to have their best programming right now. I don't think that means anything, because that podcast was not associated with his feuds in AEW. It has nothing to do with that. That's his story that he wanted to tell to his fans about why he left the company. WWE did not need to respond to that.
No, but
it's not. Oh, here's the John Moxley shoot interview brought to you by AEW. That's
right.
It's not a promo for a feud. That's his story.
Right. But I think because it caught such popularity, the concern would be is that if you do have the casual viewer that maybe hasn't seen WWE in a while, just be like, okay, well, let me put it on, and they put it on, and they have a sour taste in their mouth about what they see on there, whether it's fair or foul. It's giving them more of a reason not to tune back in or not to, so it's almost like if you go 0-16.
I don't know about that because he's seen people that keep saying that they lose touch about they're losing and they're indifferent.
Brother, I'm not talking about the bubble.
No, I'm not talking about the bubble. I'm just talking about in general. Anytime I see something where somebody's like, "Oh, I've been a casual fan," yada yada yada, but they'll tell you about what's wrong with the booking structure. Oh, right. You're a casual fan. You're not watching, but you can tell me what's wrong with every feud right now. Okay.
Right. Well, I mean, I still think there is. I still think you have when there's criticisms on your company, you do. I feel like you do have to, and again, not punch back in a way saying like whatever, like you're not name dropping AEW like Sami Zayn did 1 week. Not but I would think that you would put out. Almost if SNL had 3 bad episodes in a row and people were just abusing SNL when it came to like this show's over, the cast sucks, this and that, I promise you Lorne Michaels would go to those writers and say, we need to get our shit together or else you're all going to be finding a job before the second half of this season starts. And I just don't. If it truly is the case that the be-all end-all is, and I'm not saying that's the case, but we do know that the process can be tedious, or at least mentally tedious on these performers. When you can see how much more free-flowing it can be outside of it. I don't know, man. Like I saw what Velveteen Dream put, and I understand that, and I totally understand his point too, and agree with his point. I think one thing, Josh, and let me ask you this question. How would Velveteen Dream, though, feel if Vince just thought it would be funny and it would take a dig at Cody and bring him up as the Dream? And he was Dusty Rose and Sapphire's bastard son, and he's going to wear polka dot, and he's going to go by the Dream from now on, damn it. And that was his pigeonholed gimmick. Would the Velveteen Dream then be like, okay, I guess I got to own this? Or would he feel kind of shitty about the role that he was going to have to play? And wouldn't it be, you see what I mean? Like it could be very subjective, man. That's why I didn't want to, I respect and agree with what he said. But again, it could be until you're on the main roster, you're not in that locker room. You have no, even at house shows, you still don't know. You still don't know. We don't know. You know what I mean? Like we sound like idiots talking about it, but
I can't speak for him. If that proposition came out to him, that's only for him to go about it that way.
But you know what the sad part is? That's something Vince would do, though, brother. Come on,
I'm sorry, man. I love Cody as much as everybody, but Cody has not had the impact on this business as Dusty Rhodes did when he affected Vince during the NWA days. That's just a fact. Cody has done a lot of great things right now, but he's not even on the level that his father was, business-wise or as a performer.
Yeah, and I don't think he would.
I don't think the old man is affected as people think that he is by Cody Rhodes. You want to ask Triple H that question? Would that be something Triple H would do? I don't know, but
I actually don't think there's necessarily bad blood between any of them, to be honest. I don't think it's anything. I think we want there to be bad, like not we, obviously, like me, you and I, but I think like the quote unquote wrestling like bubble wants there to be more bad blood than there really is. Like I actually truly think that they know competition can only breed better competition, and especially in this day and age, that's only going to push your stock price up, and that's a good thing. That really is a good thing. So I don't think there's, as much as we want bad blood between the two companies, I don't think we're going to see it in that form,
Folks, by the way, a little random note here. If you keep getting like emails and stuff about cars, even if you don't have a car, make sure you have it in the right spam area because my phone keeps blowing up with stupid car emails. I don't have a car. I don't have car insurance. I never own a car.
I think the cars are filled with Omaha steaks.
Yeah, probably. Omaha steaks on it, DDP yoga, all of it. All right. There's something I wanted to talk about today before we get to Through the Eyes of a 9-Year-Old. We got a lot of praise going on right now for NXT UK and 205 Live, and this could also tie into what we were just talking about. You know, okay, Raw and SmackDown may not be for you right now. Cool, that's fine. But you have other programming that you can choose to watch whenever you want.
There you go.
And
there you go.
NXT UK and 205 Live, in my opinion, have been delivering every single week, and I think that their announcers do a good job. I said it countless times that I enjoy the NXT UK brand more than the main NXT shows. I think 205 Live deserves a lot more praise than they do get. I know a lot of people don't have enough time to watch their shows, but these guys bust their ass every single week, and especially for the fans that love that in-ring hardcore style of wrestling without weapons. I'm talking about in-ring technical wrestling.
Right.
That's the show for you. And I love what's going on with these UK guys. Now, I didn't get to see a lot of these performers perform in Progress or all these different companies. I'm all new to these different wrestlers and stuff, but they're doing some awesome stuff down there in NXT UK as well. And I think they deserve a lot of praise. I would hope maybe one of these days 205 Live will get a takeover where it's not just a continuation of, okay, here's your show throughout the week, and then, oh, here's the Cruiserweight title match in the middle of a pay-per-view that nobody cares about. You know, I felt so bad for Nice and Davari because they're having a good program on that show before they were on Money in the Bank, and I thought they had a good match, and everybody's sitting on their hands.
I actually agree with that 100%, man. I think that's something they could do on like a Saturday night as a special, attraction kind of thing where, they don't necessarily have to over budget it as far as entrances and anything like that. Keep it simple, because when you're watching 205 Live, yeah, you're watching for, and this is actually where I think it does, like Raw, SmackDown are separate from 205 Live, NXT UK. I feel like 205 Live, NXT UK, NXT, it is absolutely more geared toward, like we always talk about, geared toward the wrestling fan. So, you're getting great storylines. You're actually getting really good storylines on 205 Live. I think it would legitimize them a little bit to have that event every once in a while, and it would give those men a spotlight to kind of shine on. And hell, you could even throw a couple women's matches from Raw or SmackDown on there just to kind of beef up the pay-per-view a little bit, I think that's dude. I think that would be a great idea. I don't see why, I like that NXT UK is getting their own takeovers. I do think there's absolute upside to that, because like you said, there is storytelling in WWE when, but again, we forget the difference of the Raw and SmackDown, dynamic versus underneath, Go ahead, Josh.
Well, I wanted to mention this earlier. I forgot. There was a lot of different things I was tying in when I was last going on with that last topic. We were talking about, like, we have to realize that WWE it's not only just not pro wrestling. It's not only Raw and SmackDown. The WWE brand is not just Raw and SmackDown.
Correct.
It's not. Monday Night Raws do not dictate whether WWE is failing or not. I'm sorry, guys.
And listen, and that's why I'm not, I brought up the indifference point just as a good talking point of, I just think they're in a slump right now, and it's not the performers. That's not what I'm saying. I do think that they're making the best of what they're given. I'm just noticing that, like, still a year and a half later, it's the women's division that's keeping me captivated, and it's because it feels like they're telling better story. And again, I know it probably goes to the same channel, same funnel, same everything. Maybe it still just feels a little fresher because the women's division is still newer. They're debuting people faster, that kind of scenario. But and again, I'm not dumping on any one company or trying to blow smoke up another company's backside either. I just think that it was something that usually, and I actually, Josh, I would think that it was more. I'm thinking it's more that probably how they had to kind of mini book the Jeddah show, like, slip that in there. And I think maybe it just made it feel clunky for a couple weeks. So the timing of the Moxley thing where, maybe WWE could have came out, like really with guns flaring. All of a sudden they can't do that because they got to worry about this Jeddah show first, because you got to still, market for, promote that as much as, So I don't know. That's why I'm not trying to say, well, WWE is tanking. No, they're not. They're always going to be around. I'm not concerned about ratings. I'm not concerned about the stuff. I do think that there is going to come a certain point though where they're going to have to at least address the elephant that's in the room, that maybe some talent should be given a little bit more liberties on the mic, because they'll be able to feel that crowd, like Vince used to be able to feel a crowd when he's in the ring. Still, he understands that aspect of it, of knowing when to really turn on a crowd a little bit. And I don't think there's men and women that are afraid. That's the knock, is that, the locker room's afraid to take chances.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's the case. It's just that you could be on the chopping block like yesterday if you do take a chance. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's Vince's fault either. It's just the way that WWE is now, and I just think, I hope that they can find maybe a happier balance, because there still does have to be structure because of all the partnerships they have and everything. They, obviously they do have to be a little more cautious on their end of things. I'm surprised they're getting away with some of the Bray Wyatt stuff, to be honest.
I want to play something really quick. Let's see if this audio comes in. All right.
Go ahead. I'm going to mute mine.
I wonder if Brother Carter gets jealous that Shane McMahon's doing the conducting signs.
Probably, but see, I here's okay, and I'll admit, man, I love what Shane's doing. But here's the one where the turnoff for me is, I again, out of sight, out of mind. You're right. Don't talk about them or else they win. The best in the world shit to me is if any other. I know they're trying to re-own it and not make people think about CM Punk about it or whatever. Maybe they are just trying to get the CM Punk reaction to add added heat on the Shane or whatever. But that's actually what's making me indifferent to that storyline. Dude, any other moniker he would have picked, I would have been like, dude, this might be the best like Shane's ever been. But because they're kind of, again, it's that dead horse beating a dead horse that's already been beaten by a dead horse. You know what I mean? Like,
I get that as a Punk fan. I'm as big a Punk fan as you are. For me, what I love about it is the heel, like, trolling factor of it, from when Greg Hamilton does the introduction that I just played.
Oh,
that's awesome. Just gold. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
CM Punk not included, or Chris Jericho, because he was calling himself the best too. But like,
he was the best in the world at everything he does.
That's correct. I love what Shane's doing, man. And I always knew that Shane was a better bad guy than a good guy. The way he's condescending towards the Miz, the fact that Shane forced Miz to have his own Miz TV, even though they had a Miz TV on Raw. Here's the thing: like, a lot of people got like annoyed with Stephanie and how she talked during her authority on screen time. People just getting more and more pissed off with Shane McMahon. We were kind of joking about it the other day, about
very valid point
about the WWE video game, and like Shane's gonna be having a 99 rating with unlimited reversals and stuff.
Mm-hmm. What did I say? It was gonna be 137 and a third. It was gonna be his rating because it goes up to 100. And I guess that's what sucks, is because it's, whatever they're doing with that. Like, it really is it's not even as a CM Punk fan. I think if I hated CM Punk too, it would still be like, all right, just why bring him back into it? You know what I mean? Because in a way that, like you said, man, you're kind of, not that you're letting him win, but it was only 5 years ago that he was in a company. People still remember. You know what I mean? It's not like it's 10 years later. It's where I don't know.
Let's see what else stood out to me.
But he has been fantastic. I just wonder if, but you're right though. Maybe it isn't overexposure. Maybe it is the right, it is the right kind of heat. For me, I just wish it wasn't like they were giving Punk a win, because forget him. You know what I mean? Let him be forgotten.
Well, I think this is the time of the year, like I said, during the summer, where you're not going to have Stephanie and Triple H on every single week. So have Shane be the McMahon family figure on air to have everybody be pissed off at.
And it really could lead to a nice, like, if they wanted to, storyline-wise, family feud kind of deal. You know, I mean, that's something we've been waiting for a while. You know, I mean, so there's absolute, like, listen, there's so much upside to what's going on. That's why I'm not, you know, I don't want to make it, again, guys, I'm not, like, dumping on WWE when I say that I've been indifferent over the past, like, couple weeks. But because I do think a lot of it had to do with just them shoving certain things in for Jeddah and stuff like that or whatever. But
now the show's over.
Yeah, right. So right, exactly. So like now, you know, we can kind of like go forward with it and kind of take it from there. But yeah, that's really my only. And granted, that's a petty reason. It's a fickle reason that like say, well, you know, it's kind of like deflates some of the momentum for me. And I'm just one person with a terrible opinion, so it doesn't matter. In the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Well, let's see what else stood out. I don't know about you, but I got a kick out of the YOLO County Tag Team Champions. Did you see that on SmackDown?
That was AJ Kurtz, like the AJ Kurtz, right? That was awesome. Yeah, I popped for that. Yeah, I totally popped for him. It was cool to see him on there, but I thought that was funny.
Heavy Machinery is kind of growing on me, actually.
This keeps getting weirder.
Yeah, I don't know what blue collar solid means.
I live close enough to West Virginia. I get it. But I think Otis is starting to really sound like he should be. So you know how Conan always had Andy Richter on the side?
Yes.
It should be like Derek, as in the thoughts of Jericho, with Otis on the side.
Oh, God.
Like I think he'd be his good Paul Schaefer, if you will.
Oh God, that's hilarious. Oh man, I got that image stuck in my head now.
You're welcome. Yeah, that's why I'm here. I'm not here to overanalyze the product. Lord knows I don't know shit.
Ain't nobody got time for that. All right.
But I do want to say one thing though. I think that with all of what's going on, let's say. Don't you think though that some of this, and I don't want to say like, hey, again, I'm not trying to like prove a point here by any means, but I think this is a direction that WWE needs to at least acknowledge, or maybe they realize this is what's in a way kind of better for business right now. But what was going on with Becky and Edge and Beth on Twitter over the weekend was really the most entertaining thing, probably storyline wise going on. It might be the most entertaining thing storyline wise going on, you know, like them taking them little off the cuff pot shots at each other and stuff like that.
Yeah. I got a kick out of that, but here's one issue. Freaking Ric Flair just popped up on Busted Open and said that's all work.
Like, way to ruin it all, Rick. like we didn't know that anyway. You know what I mean? But way to just ruin it all. Come on, man. Really? Like, come on, dude. He's just mad that Charlotte ain't involved.
Oh man.
I'm sorry. No, but I mean, why pull the curtain back even more when we know the curtain's pulled back?
Right.
He's doing such solid work. Like Beth, like that's building to something like we want to see. Like we absolutely can't, like right now, like just the thought, and I know it can never happen, but a thought of a mixed tag match between Becky and Seth and Edge and Beth is like, to me, that would be a dream kind of mixed tag match. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate knowing that we probably can't see it from Edge's standpoint, but Edge could be in her corner. Seth could be in the other corner, you know, in Becky's corner. And we got something that there's like they did with Jon Stewart and Seth Rollins a couple years ago. You know, it's one of those where, and more of that, you know what I mean? Damn you, Rick. Come on.
Why you gotta ruin the fun, man?
You know, that's why we can't have nice things, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. A couple more things before we bring our superstar in. I had a couple things that stood out to me. I thought Raw was the best show this week out of Raw and SmackDown. I thought Raw was pretty solid from top to bottom. There's a couple things that really stood out to me, especially everybody and their mother going after the U.S. title that ended up going into that 6-man tag team match, which was pretty dope. I hope Cesaro's not injured. That 630 on his knee did not look good. I hope Cesaro's all right. I thought that was a very good match. Revival, Usos against Hawkins and Ryder was pretty cool. Shout out to Revival, new Raw Tag Team Champions. And I find it interesting. Like, I think they're trying to bring out more of the badass of Seth Rollins.
I do too.
Instead of just the paranoia each week. So yeah, he's hitting people with chairs and stuff all the time, blah 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 blah, and he's the burn it down guy. But there's also extra stuff you can add to just him stomping his feet before he does the stomp. You know, have that like inner edge, if you will. It just be ruthless at times when you need to.
And you meant edge, obviously not the wrestler, or maybe obviously the wrestler, but have that like that little extra like bite to your character, like, you know, turn it from, like I always say, turn it from that 10 up to a 13, you know, which that, and because I've always been a fan of that. Josh, I agree with that. Let me just elaborate real quick. I think Rollins could be part of the badass he was when he was in the Authority. I mean, granted, he was mostly Weasley, but when he got the upper hand, he was treacherous, right? You could still be that and still be the quote unquote like baby face that you know Brock is coming after, and you're still bad, you know. Because I think Rollins is a great guy to not necessarily have as a gray area character, but he's a great guy that they have left that can be anti-establishment. You know what I mean? Like, let's come on, man. Is there anything better than when, you know, the Adam Cole Bebe pop is always great. And then when Seth Rollins wins a championship for the first time and he spins that bad boy around and does the whole spin around himself, we wait for it, we pop for it. It's fantastic, right? So I think I think there is something to him kind of, you're right, coming out of the paranoia shell a little bit and actually welcoming the challenges, almost like, and again, I'm not doing comparisons, guys, and of course, because they're dating, this is going to be like whatever, but Steve Austin was never the one that was, you know, paranoid. He went after people, like, you know, and he was that bad, you know, he was that badass. You know, you think of other guys that were, you know, even like when Triple H was babyface, things like that. So there's no reason why I don't think Rollins couldn't do the same.
Shane not included. I think McIntyre's done some good stuff over the last couple weeks. Him and Roman are going to be fighting each other one-on-one at Stomping Grounds. There's 5 matches announced already for that show. Kofi and Dolph Ziggler will be fighting each other in a steel cage match.
And I think Dolph's been doing a really good job too.
I'm laughing because I was thinking about the promo Sami Zayn cut on SmackDown this week, and how everybody's like hypocrites and stuff. Like I just want one segment where Sammy and Daniel Bryan are like, they have a dueling fickle or hypocrite chant back and forth.
They'd have to be on the same team though, where they were like, it'd be great.
There's a throwback promo. It's not on the show this week, so don't worry about it, guys. But there's a throwback promo that Jericho did with Daniel Bryan.
Again.
Yeah, there you go. No.
Yes, again. Yes, again.
I wanted something like that.
And isn't it funny that we're going back once again to Chris Jericho? The greatest of all time.
The GOAT, man. Drinking in, man. You know what happens?
There is no more list. No, he's the.
No, you get it.
He's like the road warrior now. He like the road
Painmaker. The Painmaker. Man. One last thing for SmackDown I want to mention. Some good stuff with Carmella and Sonya Deville. I like that match.
Yes.
Good match. And poor Jinder, man. he got Truth in the right spot to get the title, and then Truth gets caught in a freaking forklift. I don't know why Jinder didn't have the referee with him the entire time, though.
You know what? Listen, credit to, for as much as I said, I'm indifferent about a lot of stuff right now and stuff. And I wasn't really big on a 24/7 title at first. Credit where credit is due. It has become very entertaining. You know, now that we know it is like a little comedy segment, it's more of like the lighthearted, like lampoony kind of moment, like whatever. Like it's fun. It's become a fun little segment every week and fun kind of like continuation. That is oddly, I feel, the best they've done in continuing a story from a week to week basis. Because Josh, the one thing you said, like, and you know what, there is truth in that. Like, not every show or segment has to think like, okay, I can't wait to see what. In a way, it does, but you're right. It doesn't have to have big cliffhangers. It doesn't have to, This has been fun to have these little cliffhangers and like to see like, okay, guess what happens next? Where we thought it was going to be ridiculous, and it is. It's so ridiculous, right? And over the top. But like you talked about last week, truth just on the table underneath the ring, or how that, just a little different ways, them getting stuck in an elevator, and then EC3, Seth Alexander, just everyone being able to show their kind of their personalities in there and stuff like that. It's been fun little segments, man.
Drake Maverick.
Good continuity from week to week.
I'm not Hornswoggle, damn it.
Drake Maverick was great. Drake was great too.
Oh man. What was I gonna say? I'll never forget Crash Holly, man. That guy was perfect for the hardcore title.
Oh yeah,
it first came out.
Yeah,
I do have vivid memories of that because I started watching wrestling towards the end of the Attitude Era. So,
right.
Oh man, Crash Holly, good times, man. Rest in peace, good sir. All right, that's enough recapping from Raw and SmackDown this week. Next week we'll make our predictions for the Stomping Grounds pay-per-view. Right now we're gonna hear a little clip it here for a podcast you can check out right now on Anchor and Spotify, and after that you'll hear the velvety tones of AJ Daley through the eyes of a 9-year-old right here on the Hoots podcast. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. We hit on a lot of different topics today, but it is time for everybody's favorite segment of the week, Through the Eyes of a 9-year-old. Hello, AJ.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. How about you?
I just came back from working at Walmart, so I am very happy to be here.
Oh, now you're a Walmart worker.
Well, I got fired from McDonald's yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got fired. Sorry.
Your storyline continuity is about as good as I'm gonna stop that joke, right?
So I heard from Grapevine that your father told me that you had set things that you wanted to talk about this week. Is that right?
Yes, and then we will get to the questions after I get to my bullet points.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the first one that I wanted to talk about is just funny, where R-Truth on SmackDown called his title the 7-Eleven title.
Yes, that was awesome.
And that is very, very wrong. Very wrong. It's the 24/7 title. I also like that now he's stuck in a box, about to be shipped away to, what is it, Vegas?
LA.
LA, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Now, and then I also wanted to talk about how Sonya Deville's music has been tweaked. It has changed just a little wee bit.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
I did notice that today whenever I was watching SmackDown. Her music was tweaked just a little wee bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice pickup.
Nice.
And then, who's the one with Daniel Bryan? Rowan?
Rowan.
Mm-hmm. His shirt was not Hailstorm, it was actually Ailstorm, which is a Scottish pirate metal band. You now check that band out. I checked it out earlier. It's not that very good of a band, or at least not my taste of music. I'm sorry. Pirate music is not my taste of music, but check it out.
You're not into pirate metal?
No, not into Scottish pirate metal. Okay. No, not really.
Hey, nothing's worse than ICP, so...
I was gonna say some of my Scots. I think that some of my friends over there, they might. I'm gonna have to talk to Dave about it. He might know the band. I might be into the
band. A pirate band.
Yeah.
I think I was in 5th grade. We had a band concert. We did the full soundtrack from Pirates of the Caribbean. Good time.
I mean, when I was growing up, I was listening to the Typo Negative, and they were all vampires, allegedly. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anything else, AJ, before we get to questions?
I wanted to talk about the Firefly Funhouse. Let's have a conversation about the Firefly Funhouse. So, I find it funny that Marcy was trying to eat the rabbit again.
Right.
Trying to eat Rambling Rabbit again. Mm-hmm. And then Rambling Rabbit gets killed because Bray Wyatt decides to smash him up and then sell Rambling Rabbit Rambling Jam or whatever.
Yowie, wow.
Yes. Bohemian breakfast spread.
It's for sale?
I don't know, but I think it's gonna be for sale. Let's just face it. They sold Bootios, So they're going to probably sell Rambling Rabbit jam.
Honestly, I don't know why they wouldn't. It's so popular right now. They'd probably sell.
And I have a prediction that I want to tell everybody.
Okay, wow.
So
Coming in strong today.
I think that all of the characters from the Funhouse, obviously except for Bray Wyatt, is gonna end up getting killed off. So then Bray Wyatt is lonely and he has to go out and find somebody. And then that's whenever he finally exits the Funhouse. Maybe it's gonna be Aleister Black, as he has been waiting for somebody to just come and find him.
I like your way of thinking.
Good point, because you know what? That's actually, we were talking about it this week. First off, Aleister Black's been doing fantastic. So again, don't think that there aren't people doing their job. Like
somebody be a man.
Yes, and honestly, is there right now a better? That would be such a great program. Like there would be there. It's just natural. It would feel like perfect.
That'd be good for SummerSlam.
Right.
Yes.
Right. You know, it'd be awesome if he was like, knock on my door, and then Bray's whole thing is what? Let me in.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the tie-in.
Yeah. Good point on that. I wasn't thinking about that part of it.
Yep. Let me in. So I don't know. You might, there's a good point that you have right there.
All right.
The ghost stealing my ideas and using them on microphone, but that's all right.
Not true. Not true at all. Not true at all. First of all, I came up with the idea about the main thing, and then you came up with the idea with Aleister Black.
Correct. Yeah.
With the Aleister Black thing.
Yes.
So it's basically my idea, just with the twist of yours.
Yeah, just with who we'd face, Right. But okay, so would you like to see Bray versus Aleister Black though?
I think it would be cool. It would be very cool. I like that. It would make it. I don't know if it would make sense. I want to see if they do a storyline with that. If they even do that type of thing. I mean, maybe Bray won't even be in ring. Maybe he's just a character that stays in the Funhouse.
I think he's got to come back eventually. I think, Josh, I would imagine. I mean, I don't know, maybe sometime soon, because JoJo just had a kid, so they, obviously as a new father, you want to hang around and help out as much as you can too for a minute, so, which in a way gives them more time to build this character, I think, right, and give them time to make it breathe, and kind of positive in a way, Obviously, it's always congratulations to bringing new life into the world, but then at the same time, I think it's helped this character. Like again, this is one segment that I do look forward to every week is the Firefly Funhouse, and it feels like a separate entity on the show.
Yes.
And also this part here, we have to wait for the unfortunate soul to say "Let me in" one of their promos, even if they're not referencing Bray Wyatt. Like it slips out of their mouth,
right.
And there's consequences for that.
You know what? Let me pitch this to you guys, and I'm just creatively booking here, so let me see what you guys think about this though.
Okay.
Would it be cool if one of Aleister Black's promos where he's screaming, the door is open, let me in, and the camera twists and Bray's already there, and what you don't realize is Bray's actually has Aleister kind of confined in the Funhouse already. He just doesn't know it. You know what I mean? So the whole time he's saying he's like kind of talking almost in a purgatory type of state. To where that could create some sort of, like not knowing the whole time he's waiting for somebody, but Bray already has him, or just the whole thing of, somebody come to the door and then, they turn the camera and Bray finally is standing there, or the Fiend, as I guess they're calling him, when he's in, I just think there's huge potential there. Like that would be so cool. That'd be such a great payoff.
I can see that. By the way, rest in peace, Rambling Rabbit 2 times. We got 2 deaths for Rambling Rabbit. We got to keep score now.
I think he's just going to go ahead and keep coming back and dying. But I think the jam is just going to keep making, though. Every time he's dead, they're going to make a new jar.
Could be new flavor.
Yeah, maybe a new flavor. Yeah, maybe he always comes back as a new flavor. Maybe next time he comes back, it's going to be grape. I don't know.
Maybe.
Welcome to the grapevine.
Yeah, right. Mercy.
Hey, by the way, did he notice there was kind of a subtle jab to Omaha Steaks when Bray did the little ad for the Bohemian spread?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
I totally dig what they're doing, man. I love the harm heel kind of like scenario they have going on right
Eat
now.
Omaha Steaks.
Right.
Yeah, get it 75% off, especially for Father's Day weekend. Get your Omaha steaks right now, ladies and gentlemen. Get it now.
And so we didn't watch the Jetta show, so we can't have you elaborate on that. So nothing there. Anything else you want to talk about this week?
Questions. Anybody? Any questions?
Okay, AJ. Quick question. If there's one wrestler that you would like to see come back that maybe's been injured or hasn't been on television recently, like who would you like to see on either Raw or SmackDown right now?
That's a tough question, to be honest, because I don't really know. I'm stumped.
You're stumped?
I'll pass it on to Dad, unless he's already talked about it.
So was that I was letting you take the reins on that one. So that was, the question was, who would we like to see come back?
Yeah, somebody who's injured or hasn't been on television for a while. Like a Luke Harper or Jason Jordan or somebody else. I don't know.
Man, you know what? I don't, it's been so all over the place.
I will say this real quick. Chad Gable on 205 Live, that's a good choice.
Whoa, wait, Chad Gable on SmackDown. I did like a triple take. I actually had to rewind it to make sure it was Chad Gable.
Yeah.
I forget. I have to go back because I forget. He looked like he could have been someone's younger brother or son. And I was going to make a joke. I just have to go back and see who it is. But
different question. AJ, what did you think about Dark Phoenix?
I really like the movie Dark Phoenix, but I'm not going to say anything about it because you guys have to go see it in theaters, okay? And then also you can go see any other movie in theaters. You do not have to see Dark Phoenix if you do not want to. There are lots of other movies that are in the theaters, including horror movies, children's animations, Dark Phoenix. There's lots of different ones. Go see a movie that you want to go see. I'm just letting you know Dark Phoenix is really good, and that's just a recommendation.
Are you working for Fandango or Cinema or something? Or what's going on here?
No, I just really want to work there, so I'm just kind of helping.
Application there. Do you send an application there or no?
Yeah, you're more active than some of the employees at some of the movie theaters I've been to.
That's good though, right?
No, there's laws against that.
Hey, is all 5 hours of Avengers Endgame still airing right now or no?
I think you can see it on I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't see if it was still in theaters or not.
I don't think it is.
You just kind of got up there, got in, got out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been bombarded with Secret Life of Pets ads recently.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna watch that or not, but all right. Another wrestling question really quick, AJ.
Okay.
What happened to AJ Styles, by the way? This is a little random note here, but is he injured right now, Adam?
I don't know. That's and see, there's another one. There's one where AJ Styles and it seemed like Seth might have a little something going on, and then I don't know where that just got dropped. Maybe because of something with Brock, or maybe they have something planned for later on.
Brock Party.
You love Brock Party. He's a big Brock Party fan over here. But yeah, man, that's I guess part of like a little bit about what I was talking about earlier. Like, I want to know what's up with AJ Styles right now. You know, like, and I guess him. Is he starting to turn more of the antagonist versus the protagonist? Is he, which direction are they going with him? Like, and I am interested because I'm it's just ever since he's been on Raw, it doesn't feel like he's been on Raw,
Right. AJ, a lot of people on Twitter like to complain. Obviously, I'm sure your dad's told you that social media is the hub for complainers.
Yes. And the best place for Becky Lynch and Edge to have a feud.
Yes, absolutely.
I just wish that was on TV. I really, really do.
A lot of people like to cry about Brock Lesnar doing the Brock Party. Tell the good listeners as to why you like the Brock Party.
Number one, it's so funny. It's so funny. Mm-hmm. No, number two, it's just playing out just good. I don't know. It's just like, I really like it. There's something about that I like, but it's like hard to put into words. It's just funny, basically.
Let me ask this question to kind of piggyback off of Josh's question. This is the first time you've seen Brock really be able to show his personality a little bit versus just a guy that comes out and stands there next to Paul Heyman.
Yes.
You know, because and I sent you some gifs and like you saw like old stuff when like him
But
and Guerrero
also,
and stuff like
his
that.
smile is creepy. I'm so sorry. His smile is so creepy.
Well, he's huge. He's a monster of a human being. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I know, and its smile is creepy.
But
Like
but
Lars
is it maybe because you're finally getting to see his personality versus just Paul Heyman doing all of the talking, or is it just because of like how funny he's been? You know what I mean? Both. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that.
Really quick, this is for both of you guys. The last question we'll do for the segment today. Both Adam, AJ, you guys got to go to the Pride Festival, Pride Parade in Pittsburgh over the weekend. How did that go?
It was good. I really liked it a lot. And Dad, you can also go on this one. It just wasn't as good as last year's was.
The problem was,
You
I think,
explain.
yeah, I guess the easiest way to explain it was it actually, I mean, I hate saying it like this, but there was a larger crowd, but it felt like there was a smaller area for everyone to be in. A lot of the stuff they have for kids wasn't there, like bouncy houses, different things like that.
Art sections,
stuff like that. And Pittsburgh Art Fest was going on at the same time, but it seemed like they trimmed down. It was almost like they were going with the Hangman Adam Page challenge. It was like they got bigger and smaller. No, but it just felt very. Even the parade itself, like it's sectioned off where like you'll have you'll have some pixies, or you'll have the drag queens, the drag kings, and they didn't have as much of that. It felt very.
They didn't have any floats.
Not as many floats. It felt very corporate, and so I mean, in a way it has to be, but it was so overly political in one capacity too. Where it should have been just about going down and celebrating, which everyone down there was just down there celebrating. It was a blast as far as that goes. I think it was just the couple things that were omitted took away from the experience a little bit, because there were more people. There were more kids there this year than I can remember the past couple years, which is an awesome thing to see.
Yes.
And when you take away the kids' attractions, you know what I mean, for an event when it's going to be larger, that was kind of like a little bit of a letdown. But other than that, I thought I had a blast up there.
Yeah, I had a very good time.
Yeah.
I will agree with you. I had a very good time. But yeah, that's how it went.
You should always go to Pride. Great people. It's always a good time. And everybody gets to cut loose.
Yep.
Everybody gets cut loose.
Yep.
Cut loose, man. AJ, before we let you go, just want to say thanks again for being on this segment again. The best segment in all podcasting right now. Any famous last words?
My famous last word today is always buy kids' toys for your child. Always. Never say no. Never ever say no.
I don't know how that works.
Always say yes. Always. Right. It doesn't matter how much it is. Just say yes.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
It's a new law.
Wait till you adopt one day. You'll see.
Ha ha
All right. Thank you, AJ.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, through the eyes of a 9-year-old, every single week here on the Hoots podcast. AJ's not on social media right now, which is a good idea.
Ever.
Ever. All right. Adam,
say so.
We're about to wrap it up in a couple minutes. Anything else you wanted to mention, like entertainment-wise, or anything that's on your mind?
You know what? There's always something I feel like I always forget to talk about. And then next week I'm like, yeah, I forgot to talk about this. And then I just totally forget about it again. Right. It was fun going to Pride Pittsburgh. It was a blast as it always is. If you haven't had Pride Fest in your city yet, have a chance to go. It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if you're an ally or a part of the LGBTQ community. It's just a fantastic time. And other than that, man, I don't know. That's where I'm at. A lot of good Joker comics coming out this fall. That's one thing I did see. There's I think 3 different Joker stories coming out. One called 3 Jokers. I mean, I'm not going to bore everyone with my Joker talk, but and the more and more I hear about the movie, the more and more I'm so intrigued. So
comes out the 3rd, right?
The 4th.
The 4th, okay.
October 4th. Yep. Yeah. I'll see it on the 3rd though. I'll see that Thursday night. I will be there by myself as I should be, just taking it in.
Yep. After that, it'll be
That wasn't a soundbite.
yeah, I had to slice that up, as they say in the media business.
No, leave that one go. That was awesome. That's like when you know you're setting people up for a GIF. It's perfect.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you guys so much for checking out episode 160 of the Hoots podcast. As always, you can check out all our previous episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any podcasting platform you choose to listen to. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Hoots Podcast. Also, check out my music page, Instagram.com/Josh Lopez Music. Pretty easy for you guys to find there. And make sure to follow Adam on Instagram if you like, Adam Daley 13. As always, remember, folks, be the authentic product that is yourself. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Father's Day weekend. It should be a good weekend for all the good fathers out there. And good brother, thanks again for coming on the show.
I appreciate you, Josh. Listen, anyone out there listening, thank you so much. I always say there's a million things you could be doing. Spending even like a microcosm of your time with us means a lot. So we thank you.
For the Cloud Prince and AJ, I'm Joshie. Thank you guys so much for checking out the Hoots podcast. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. We'll talk to y'all next week. Peace.